The Red Sea is on the brink of explosion. Houthi attacks, backed by Iran, are threatening global trade, and the U.S. and its allies are preparing a response that could change the course of the war. A ground operation is in play, large-scale, coordinated, with the potential to break through the Houthis' years-long defense. This is not just a war for Yemen. This is a clash of powers shaping the future of the Middle East. Ground offensive in planning. Yemeni forces opposed to the Houthis are actively in talks with the United States and Gulf Arab allies regarding a potential ground offensive. The goal? To push the Houthis out of the Red Sea coast. This offensive could mark the start of a multi-front assault with strategic coordination from the U.S. military. At the center of it is Hodeidah, a critical port used by the Houthis to launch attacks. But that's just the beginning. Pressure is mounting for a broader campaign that could even reach Sana'a. Airstrikes continue without pause. Since March 15th, U.S.-led airstrikes have been hitting Houthi targets daily. Explosions were recently heard in Sana'a, with 14 military sites reportedly struck. While the Pentagon has remained cautious with its statements, the frequency and intensity of the strikes suggest a serious escalation. These are not symbolic attacks. They're strategic strikes aimed at dismantling Houthi military capacity. Al-Shabaab connection raises the stakes. A new and deeply troubling layer has emerged. U.S. Africa Command has confirmed links between the Houthis and Somalia's Al-Shabaab, an al-Qaeda affiliate. From training to weapons smuggling, this connection marks a dangerous shift, expanding the Houthis' threat beyond Yemen's borders. President Trump has called for solidarity with the Somali people and warned against allowing the Houthis to embed themselves in the Horn of Africa. Military strategy in the making. General Michael Kurilla, head of U.S. Central Command, has been meeting with Saudi and Yemeni military leaders in Riyadh to plan how a ground operation could complement airstrikes. While CENTCOM remains tight-lipped, insiders confirm that detailed military strategies are being hashed out. Interestingly, the UAE has denied involvement in these ground operation plans, but discussions between U.S. and Emirati officials have focused heavily on regional security concerns. Tariq Saleh and the return to Hodeidah. Tariq Saleh, nephew of former Yemeni President Ali Abdullah Saleh, leads more than 50,000 fighters from his base in Mocha, just south of Hodeidah. With UAE support, his forces have worked closely with the U.S. to intercept Iranian arms shipments. Saleh's advisors are calling a ground offensive essential to capitalize on the air campaign's success. However, both the UAE and Saudi Arabia remain wary, remembering the political and humanitarian fallout of the 2015 coalition effort. The Houthis began their Red Sea attacks in solidarity with Hamas, following the outbreak of war with Israel in 2023. Both Hamas and the Houthis are backed by Iran and labeled terrorist groups by the U.S. Today's campaign is far more aggressive than the one initiated under President Biden in early 2024. Day and night, Houthi infrastructure is being obliterated. Over 120 people have been killed since March 15th, according to Houthi-controlled health authorities. Iran's regional strategy and risks. While Hezbollah has suffered major losses in Lebanon, Iran's broader proxy network remains intact. Negotiations between the U.S. and Iran over the nuclear program are ongoing, and Tehran's grip on militias across the region is still a threat. Experts warn against underestimating the Houthis' resilience. They've held Sana'a for over a decade and remain ready for long-term conflict. In a fiery speech, Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi declared, "We have chosen to be lions in confronting these enemies." Despite the mounting military pressure, their stance is clear. Surrender is not on the table. The pieces are moving on the board: U.S. bombs, Saudi strategy, Emirati silence, and Houthi defiance. The next move could redraw the map of influence in the Middle East. The world is watching, and Yemen could become the flashpoint of a much larger fire.